Hey guys, it's June 21st, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, it's hotter than the hinges of hell out here. Anyway, as you can see that I took everything off the back of this transom. I took the exhaust pipes out, or the transom exhaust out, and I removed the swim platforms, and I did this so I could repair anything or fix any gouges or anything that were in the hull, which I did, and I went through there, and I spent about 2 days on this, guys, and wet sanded it and buffed it, and it just didn't turn out like I wasn't happy with the way that it turned out, because it has a couple of light spots in it that won't come out, and here's an example of one of them. That's just where the boat, being 40 years old with the sun damage, hit it, and just destroyed the gel coat. Yes, it can be fixed, and we can work some more gel coat in there, but that's a lot of trouble and all that. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap the hull. But anyway, today's video is going to be about pulling this booger here. That needs to be pulled, the transom and the gimbal ring and all of that whole assembly needs to be pulled off of the boat. And the reason that we're doing that is just to make sure that we have the proper seal on it when we go to launch this thing, so we don't have any hiccups on then. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done inside that gimbal to boot, the gimbal bearing, the shift shaft, all kinds of stuff in there needs to be replaced, or it's going to be replaced, and it's just a lot easier to do it while it's off. Anyway, guys, when I was removed the exhaust pipes, I did find a problem, and it's not a major problem. It's not really a major concern, but I'm going to show it to you. As you can see, there is a little bit of damage to the transom in there when I removed that exhaust pipe, which it probably came from heat and moisture and stuff, but it's not that bad. It's not deep at all. It's just right there on the surface so far. And the other side looked pretty good. When we originally went to pick the boat up, we did a tap test on it, so we didn't really hear any different noise during the tap test. But anyway, that's a good indicator that it was okay. And so this boat's mainly been in the Chickahominy River its entire life. It has made a couple of ventures into saltwater, but it spent most of its life in the Chickahominy, and it spent most of its life around here. So things are mauled up on it, things are stuck on it, things are froze on it, but that's to be expected. I mean, we're talking about something that's almost pushing on 40 years old. So, having said that, I'm going to go up here and jump in the boat and begin to disassemble this and remove that transom plate in there. And we're going to get this thing off of here. And there's not enough room in there. Well, actually there is, but I don't really want to use any swear words during this video, and I'm sure it's going to be some. You know how it goes. Nothing goes right. You're dealing with something that's almost, like I said, 38 to 40 years old, and there's going to be things that are mauled up on it. I have went in there already and to see what I was getting into and pre-loosen the bolts. And it's 6 bolts that hold that transom plate on, and on this particular unit, and they all came off fairly easy. I did have one that was sticking, that was mauled up, and it actually wrung off about halfway. But that's no big deal. That's simple. It's not going to be a problem. We're going to go ahead and get that out of there once we remove it. It's not going to hinder us from removing it from the transom. And guys, last week there wasn't a video posted on Tuesday like normal, and that was because of some family issues going on, and some stuff that I'm not going to discuss on here. And the internet went out. So on Tuesday, when I was editing the video that I was going to originally post, the internet went out, so I wasn't able to upload it. And then we had some family issues, so it's a pretty bad one. And but anyway, I'm not going to discuss it on here. But without going any further into it, I'm going to go ahead and jump up in the boat, and we're going to take it from there. Like I said, I'm going to try to give you guys a video of what I'm actually doing. There's no guarantee that it's going to be every step, because like I said, I'm filming by myself, and I'm going to be turning wrenches, so I don't have any help today. So You may see a lot of it, you may see some of it, but I'll try to explain it as I go with a video. You might not see the actual work being done, but I will explain it. And I'm gonna go ahead and jump up in the boat. Let's see, I've jumped up in the boat. Now, what I have done previously is I went ahead and loosened these here, this nut here, this nut here, and right down under here that you can't see that well, you can't see it at all actually, but it's two bolts right down under here. I still don't know if you can see it or not, but anyway, they've been taken out, and those bolts are right here. This right here is the bolt that rang off on the port side, and you can see originally how long it was supposed to be because this is on the starboard side. So the bolt rung off about halfway. Those bolts right there are 5/8. These up here are 3/4. They've already been pre-loosened, but I'm not going to take them all the way out. The steering assembly has been the bolt has already been taken out from here and here as well, and then you can see that's loose. Now I got my hands all dirty. And these are the bolts here, and they are 1 1/16 inch. So to remove those, and of course I'm going to retain these bolts. These two over here, or these two right here, they're going to be replaced. So I'm not too concerned with those, but I'm going to lay them to the side for right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We need to remove this, which is got to be replaced anyway, so that's no big deal. We'll cut that off, take it off somehow, get it off of there, whatnot. And then these two lines going to the trim cylinders, they have to be pulled through. There's no need in removing those, so I can just hang those out of the way for right now. And once I get this transom plate off of here, that will slide off. The only thing I need to do to release this steering system is take the cotter pin out of here, take the cotter pin out of this one, and then I will release that pin, and then the entire system will be pushed to the side and set over to the side, right over here where all that boogered up shit is. And then I've got to release this. I have to take this off. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get that off or not, because that might be mauled up in there. Might have to cut it, but no big deal. It's nothing but a ground strap, and I can always replace it. And it may come off, being it has been exposed to the weather. It doesn't look too bad. And of course, we're going to take the springs out of here, or the springs out of here and here, because those are very, very crucial to retain. So when you put that motor back in there, it lines up exactly right. Believe it or not, that little bit of difference in those springs will make that motor not seat right when you go to line up after you replace the gimbal bearing, you go to align the shaft with the motor. Believe it or not, that little bit of space will make a big difference, and you'll never get it right. So I'm going to go ahead and get this pin out and get these two nuts off of here and these two nuts off of there. I'm not worried about it falling off onto the ground because, like I said, I highly doubt that's going to happen, but I'm going to need to take this hose off here and remove these two screws. And hopefully I might have to go around to the back side and cut the hose inside, which is going to be replaced too, and then push that sleeve through there, if it'll go, to fall back in and rest inside of the gimbal outside. So when I go to remove this plate, then everything will just push out all in one assembly. So it shouldn't be too hard, but it never works out that way.
All right, guys, listen, I'm out of the boat. I have got it pulled. It wasn't too bad. About 1.5 hour job. It was smoking hot out here, so I had to take several breaks. And I showed you what I did basically in the beginning, and from there it was just pulled. After I took the nuts off, I just pulled it off, and I actually did find 2 more bolts. So it was not just 6 bolts holding on, it was actually 8. There was 2 hidden down there in the upper part, and I'll try to show you where those are here in a second. But the plate wasn't budging, and So I said, well, listen, I'll just go ahead and look around and make sure nothing else is holding it. And when I got closer inspection of it, I found those 2 bolts. And they came out relatively easy, very simple. Apparently they go into the gimbal, so they were greased up really good. As you guys can see right there at the hole, it looks relatively good in there. Obviously they pinstriped the boat prior to putting on some assembly. You know, they obviously decaled it before that process because you can see the decals behind it. So that makes me feel better about wrapping the actual transom. And it's a good thing that I pulled it off because honestly, the seal was pinched, so it was going to leak anyway, or it had been leaking at some point. Maybe not bad, but at some point it was leaking. So as you can see, it's just a little bit dirty down there. It's a little damp, but it's all of this is just grease and shit that's on there. So what I'm using to get those pinstripes off, and guys, and this is really good stuff right here, and I mean really good. It's really expensive, but I'm gonna put it out here into the camera. It's 3M general purpose adhesive remover. You spray this on there and it's 08987, and you can pick that up at O'Reilly's. It's like $34 a can, but it's well worth the money. You spray this on there literally and wait 5 minutes, and that pinstripe will come off of there like the day you put it on. It actually works real good, and that's for a 15-ounce can. So I just found that after the fact of doing all the pinstripes. You can literally put it on there, peel one side back, and peel the rest of it off. This right here was put on 5 minutes ago, and it already just peeled that off all by itself. Look at that. Just comes right off like it's nothing. That's by hand, so just bam, just comes right off. So anyway, here's the assembly down here, laying on the ground. Here's the plate. So everything's really dirty, so I got gloves on. I'm gonna go steam clean it and get it all ready and actually repaint it. But we're gonna pull this apart. All the bolts are in that rag because all the bolts that I retained. The 2 bottom bolts at the bottom, which were right here, those bolts are very soft material, and they're like a special kind of alloy that made for electrolysis. So when you take those off, you're more than likely, if you take one off, you're more than likely going to break those bolts. But they do sell them, and they can be replaced. And these right here kind of worried me at first because I thought I bent them when I was taking it off, but they're actually made that way. Each one of them's that way because of the angle of the transom. So when you put it in there, they line up coming straight out of the transom in the back, so you can put the nut on there and get even torque on it. But these are the 2 bolts that I was talking about right here, right there, excuse me, right there. They were hidden up in there. So a lot of people have a problem with this being loose. That's in good shape. There is no play in that whatsoever, so that's a really good thing. And as you see, I pulled the whole assembly off. When I was looking online at some of it, they actually had people that would actually remove the gimbal or the housing, or this part first. They would take this off, take the 2 pins out, and then remove this, remove the boot and all of that. But you don't need to do that on this particular unit. This is an Alpha 1. This is not a Gen 2, it's just a 1. So the plates in the back, the hoses and everything come with it. All this is exposed on the inside, so you just pop this hose off right here with a hose clamp. Just pop it off, take all those bolts out, take that plate off, remove that electrolysis, or that ground wire for electrolysis that I was telling you that may or may not come out. Came out super easy, wasn't mauled up, super easy. The biggest part of this job was actually removing this piece from the hull, because these 2 bolts down here, they go straight through. They got a washer built into it. I broke them, so they're wrapped up. Actually, they're right here. I'll show you one. Here is one right here. They broke, and they actually have a washer built on this end of it that's made into it. So you have to take the electrolysis fitting off the end with a pair of pliers, soak it down in WD-40, and then roll that off, and it'll come right off. And the top part fell out. Now put 2 bolts, be honest with you. I put a screwdriver behind it pried very easily. Broke the seal until I heard the glue start coming off. And I put a pry bar down here and just kind of eased it off to break the bead on it. And then I went inside, put a nut on each one of the bottom bolts here, and then tapped them lightly with a little short 10-pound sledgehammer, short handled 10-pound sledgehammer. Just barely tapped them to get enough, weight on them to push through, because there was 5,200 buried in these holes. So that's some tough shit. So I cut what I could off with a razor knife, and then just tapped them through, and they broke. They're real soft, so they don't corrode. But it came out pretty easy, guys. It wasn't too bad of a job, actually, at all. So I'm glad I got that done, and it makes me feel better about looking at that, because there's no rot down there. So, and this is just a factory hiccup right here where that bolt went in. Coming through here, they just drilled it too close to the edge, or cut the hole wrong, or whatever the hell they did. So it's just kind of, but that doesn't really mean anything. That just holds that plate on. It's not going to come through, so that's no big deal. But I'm gonna go ahead and end this video now, and well, I'm not gonna end it. I'm gonna go ahead and look at this, show you guys this. That's the whole back end assembly as you can see it was when it was in a boat. Everything looks good. It's just dirty as hell. It's just somebody just pumped grease in there until they didn't have any left in the grease gun. Ridiculous. But it's not really a lot of corrosion. There's the bolt that I had originally wrung off. So it's still got some threads on it, so we might be able to weld a nut on there and then go ahead and put some Freol in there and back it out and get it out of there. I hope like hell anyway. I guess we're gonna find out. I mean, it is what it is. So then that's the bottom, facing down towards the ground when you mount it. So as you can see, it's dirty. It just needs to be cleaned up really good. We'll throw some heat on it, on that bolt over there, and see if we can get it out. But other than that, it turned out good. Of course, we're gonna replace that. So we'll do all that when it's outside of the boat, on the tailgate of a truck or something, or in the shop where it's nice and cool. So we'll get all that done correctly, and it'll be all look like a brand new unit when it goes back in there. So I got a lot done today. I had to take a lot of breaks. If it was 70 degrees outside, it'd have been done a long time ago. So really didn't get too much else done. And so we're gonna go ahead and take it from there. But remember, those springs that are in this, do not lose those. Those are down in there, and they set down in there. You can see it. Hell, they might already be gone. They might be inside the boat. Shit. It looks like they're not even there. I might have already taken them out. But anyway, there's the springs sit there, and you gotta have those. You can purchase those, but you need to make sure that they're back in there before you put that motor in. So at worst case scenario, well, I'll buy a new set. But all right, guys, that's gonna do it for today. I might go ahead and clean that off and get that pinstripe off of there and get that ready for the wrap. But that's gonna be our wrap today. So thanks for watching.
All right, guys, I know I said I was ending this video, but I stuck around a little longer. It started cooling off out here. It's actually pretty nice. Still hotter than hell, but a lot better than it was. So I cleaned that hole up. I cleaned the inside of it up to make sure that there was no signs of any rot or anything. And it's not. It looks pretty damn good in there, guys. And I went ahead and cleaned that hole up and got it ready to shoot the epoxy up in there to make that solid again. And over here I sanded out that hole, removed all the 5200 to get this thing ready for a transom wrap. I'm gonna wrap the blue all the way down to the line there and leave the white alone, of course. I'm gonna do some repairs on that stuff down there. I have the actual product in there to do it with. But that's going to look real good. That transom's going to look real good, guys, when it's wrapped. But so it cleaned up nice. It took me about, I'd say another hour or so on it to get it all cleaned up and ready, and get all my stuff cleaned up. And I went ahead and cleaned the plate and looked over the gimbal assembly, or the transom assembly, and did a once over on that, make sure all the parts are there, find everything, cleaned up all the tools. So this is definitely going to be a wrap for the day now. I thought I'd stick around and add this to it. So once again, guys, I thank you for watching. This episode is all about the transom. So we're going to get it done. It's still a lot of work to do. Still a whole lot of work to do. But it's coming around. It's going to get easier as it goes. But one thing for sure, when you put it back together, it's not going to be dirty. So what I'm going to do probably tomorrow, first thing, while it's cool outside, is go ahead and make sure all that's clean and get all that funky ass grease out of there that was in there. And I don't even have to get inside the boat now. I can just put it up in there and show you. But get all that cleaned out, all of that crap cleaned out, get all that grease and stuff, and then on the back side, I'm not going to get up in the boat and show you that, but it's greasy back there too, where that plate was mounted and where that steering assembly was all mounted. So I'm going to clean all that up and get it all ready. And then I will go ahead and paint the inside and the bilge and all of that, and get it all cleaned up and painted and looking pretty before we put it back together. So this is going to turn out nice. Like I said, it's always easier to do everything when nothing's in the way. So I'm going to take advantage of that situation and do it upright. And then we'll go from there, from back to front. That's how it rolls. So this is definitely a wrap for today. It's about 7:30. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get some more stuff done then. All right, guys. Good morning. It is Sunday, June 22nd now, and I am back here early in the morning. If you hear any cattle raising hell in the background, well, I guess they're hungry. But anyway, I am back today, so now we're getting ready to dress out this transom with the wrap. So there's a couple processes that we got to do first. We have to rub it down with rubbing alcohol. I have to dry it off first with the dew. Then we're going to apply our alcohol and our knifeless tape and get everything ready. And then I will show you exactly the process and what we have to do to get this done. All right, guys, we got our knifeless tape applied and the surface cleaned off and ready to lay the wrap. So as you can see here, the knifeless tape is going down the edge, just right at the edge, and then at the bottom. But you might not be able to see that in the video. You may be able to. And that's going to give us a factory edge. You see I went over here on the side because that's where I'm going to wrap it around the side. So, having said that, I wiped it down with just rubbing alcohol or a wax degreaser remover. And then if you don't have 100% alcohol, rubbing alcohol will do the same thing, guys. You're just cleaning the surface, getting it ready, removing all the dirt, grease, wax, or anything that was on the surface, so your tape will have somewhere to adhere to. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure this out, and then we're going to cut our wrap. But our wrap needs to overhang on the side, probably about 6 or 8 inches on each side to give it that, so we can pull it around. And on the bottom, we're going to go about 6 inches past, and on top, we're going to go about 3 to 6 inches past above the rub rail. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get this ready now, and I'll show you the next step. All right, you can see there that I've applied some painter's tape to the rub rail. And once I measure my tape and get it into position, all that tape is going to do is hold it in place while I peel the backing off, so I can go ahead and apply it to the hull, or to the transom. All right, guys, you see how the tape is holding the wrap up? Now, I did take the tape and cut it a little long. You measure twice and cut once, just like you would if you were a carpenter. But you take that tape and you put it halfway up that rub rail, so you leave yourself plenty of excess in case you have an issue. So it's overhanging about 3 inches on each side. You take this, you do a 6 inch overhang and split the difference, top and bottom. So, like I said, measure twice, cut once. You want to make sure too much is way better than not enough. So, because you got the natural curvature of the boat, so you have to manipulate it. And I'll show you what I mean here in a little bit. All right, guys, the transom has been wrapped. It took a couple of hours, but overall it did pretty good. It was a little bit of a bear to do. I'm not gonna lie to you, but overall it turned out nice. I mean, you can see some imperfections in it, but the hull is not exactly perfect either. So you won't be able to tell once everything's done and back on there, swim platform and all of that. You won't see any of it. All right, guys.
Thank you for watching. Hey guys, huge thanks for watching and sticking with us throughout this project. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider hitting that button. It really helps support the channel and keeps these builds moving forward. We want to give a massive shout out to Vivivity Wrap for providing the wrap that made this possible, and O'Reilly Auto Parts for supplying some of the products we used along the way. Also, big thanks to 3M for the knifeless tape featured in this video. This project is being done on a tight budget, and any help, whether it's parts, knowledge, or even donations, is greatly appreciated. If you'd like to support the project, check out the donation link below. 100% of donations go directly toward parts, tools, and labor. We've also dropped Amazon links below for the exact products we used in this video. Feel free to check those out if you're interested in trying them yourself. We're just real people doing real work, not professionals, just passionate DIYers. If you catch us doing something wrong or saying something off, don't hesitate to let us know in the comments. We welcome the feedback. Thanks again for being part of the ride. We've got 1,000,000 miles to go, and we'd love for you to join us from start to finish. Peace out. See y'all next week.